What happens when you take Matt Foley and remove the van?
Down by the river!
Add in not one, but two of wrestling's most infamous brawlers facing off for the first time in America.
And place them in some public park somewhere in New Jersey.
And record everything on a Sony Handycam.
You get Stan Hansen and Terry Funk facing off in the main event of WWA's Rumble at the River.
A match you didn't know that happened, and one that took place in the most unusual of locations.
This is Special Guest Ref, and welcome to the first installment of the Mystery Match Theater.
WWA's Rumble on the River is an English teacher's nightmare when it comes to preposition use. It's certainly not on the river, by, near, adjacent, all more fitting.
Names, though, were the least of the show's concerns. It was a card full of wrestlers you either vaguely remember or you never heard of. Well, the main event had Stan Hansen and Terry Funk. This would be the first time these two faced off in a singles match in America, and it took place 3.5 years after their last one-on-one bout in All Japan. Both are coming into this contest coming off legendary performances, too.
In the weeks leading up to this contest, Hansen had just won the All Japan Triple Crown from Terry Gordy. Funk's last match was the famous I Quit match with Rick Flair in November 1990. He had done some of his grilling segments on TV after that, but mostly he's out of the spotlight. Until June 1990, it's Terry Funk, it's Stan Hansen, and they're fighting sort of close to a river, or at least some sort of body of flowing water.
You know what? Let's just get to the ring that's not on the river, but maybe by the river or on some grass that's like maybe 10 feet from the riverbank. So basically the match starts and you have Funk in the ring and he's just kind of walking around yelling at the ref, yelling at fans. And it's actually still, the crowd is still up and going. And then Hansen comes to the ring and then we get nothing. Just about nothing for 2 minutes. Just a lot of threatening. And then we get Terry Funk. And that's where it starts to get a little bit of fun.
Oh, look at here. Terry Funk's practicing for that big old ECW chair throwing spot that's going to happen in a couple of years down the road. So, Tim, as you just talked about, like, there's a lot of nothing. Funk is literally just telling the referee, get Hansen away from me. I want to enter the ring safely. I want to be left alone so I can enter the ring and start the match. And then, like, Funk is just like, okay, screw it, and enters the ring, like, right as, like, Stan Hansen is there waiting to attack him. Like, what are we doing here, Funk?
I'm pretty sure it was the ref just saying, come on, guys, let's get it in the ring. Let's go. We only got the park till 4 o'clock. Let's go. Come on.
Well, I would believe you, but the refereeing in this match is questionable at best. But we'll get into that in due course.
I agree, yes. So you have Funk and Hansen finally go at it. They finally get outside of the ring now, where you think they would go to another camera, because there was actually another camera at this event.
Wait, what? There's 2 cameras? What the hell are we doing? Why did we just spend like 4 minutes holding on to this extra wide shot where we can't see anything? Oh, good. And now the second camera still isn't showing us any action. We're just getting all of these shots of the ground and Hansen strutting around. Like, who is picking these shots? Who is directing this right now? For crying out loud, we're not going back to the other camera. The ringside camera is not in position to show us anything that is happening. Like, why can't we see this allegedly epic fight between these 2 legendary brawlers brawling, but all we're getting are like the wrong camera shot? Like, what is happening here? Here we see Hansen hitting Funk with a foreign object in the corner. It appears to be a microphone. It's in plain sight of the referee, who's maybe all of a foot away from this. Like, Tim, is this a no DQ match? Like, what are the rules here?
Well, we already had chairs, we had a bull rope, and we're fighting at a park. So I'm assuming there's no rules at this point.
There are no rules when you fight in a park or have a wrestling match in the park, I suppose. But yeah, let's just say what we have here is a no DQ match. Would you say that's safe to say, Tim?
I'm going to say yes.
At this point in time, there's just a lot of punching. They're in the ring, they're out of the ring, they're back in the ring. Then finally, it appears like this match is picking up, like we're hitting a second gear. Funk tries a pile driver. It's reversed into a back body drop by Hansen. You feel like, all right, something is happening. And then, well...
Yeah, that's because Stan Hansen's like, you know what? I want to see what's going on at the rest of this park, so I'm going to go on a little stroll. And why don't you come follow me, Mr. Funk?
WWA's Rumble on the River wasn't just a one-match show. There were three other exciting, that's probably not the right word, but there were three other matches on this card, and here is what you may have missed.
So exciting is quite a stretch. The first match really had nothing good going for it. We had a tag team called the Tahitian Savage was on the team. He was tagging with someone else who I had no idea who he was, and I don't think anybody else knew who he was. I didn't know who the other tag team was either. Match was boring. Let's move on to the second match, because that's really where I wrote about 2 pages worth of notes. So the second match was between the WWA champion, who was named the Golden Phoenix Matt. We don't know. No one knows. It was very hard to hear this man's last name. I even went on Cage Match. Nobody knows. All he's under the name the Golden Phoenix. That's all I know. He's in this match. He's awful. He's terrible. The only good thing about this whole match really is the fact that Chris Cruz is the announcer, and he's the Chris Cruz from WCW in the mid-90s, and then you don't really see him anymore after that. And then the manager for the opponent, who I'm going to get into in a minute, but anyway, the manager for the opponent of the Golden Phoenix is Brian Hildebrand, who everyone will know as well from being in Smoky Mountain. He was in WCW. He's been a lot of places. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he was in this match, and he actually took about 2 or 3 great bumps in this match. Much better than the Golden Phoenix was in this match. But the Golden Phoenix's opponent in this match was Miles Savaldi. Now, I wasted way too much time on this man because of his last name being Savaldi. That might not matter to really a lot of people, but it mattered to me, and I'm sure it mattered to you as well, because Savaldi could be related to Joe Savaldi, who's a famous Notre Dame football player who also became a wrestler. I looked it up. I did not find anything. Wondering if you found anything on him, if you wasted a lot of time like I did on this.
I found that there was another Joe Savaldi who was kayfabe related to the original one. But Miles, I did not find anything on this Miles Savaldi.
I'm thinking he was some New Jersey indie guy who just stole gimmicks because the Savaldi name was big in that time, and it's Italian, and it's New Jersey, so maybe it worked well. I don't know. Anyway, he was the best person in this match, much better than the Golden Phoenix, but he lost to the Golden Phoenix on, I guess it was like a reversal of a body slam. It looks really terrible, but so that was the ending of that match. You missed nothing. And then the third match was even worse than the second match, if you can even fathom that.
I cannot, but yeah, if you want to watch this entire card, we'll put a link into it in the video description below. It's WWA's Rumble on the River. That was what else was on the card. Hansen, on his leisurely stroll of the park, gives us our very first view of the river where this Rumble is taking place. Although neither competitor here seems to have a great idea of where they're going. They walk to the river. Funk seems to want to go back to the ring. Hansen's like, let's see what's around this river.
But then do you see how there's fathers holding children? And Stan Hansen's like, get out of the way, father with child. I have to beat up Terry Funk by this river. That's insane. Why are there children here? Why are there men holding children near these 2 violent men?
Won't somebody please think of the children?
In these parents' defense, this is a public park. Speaking of family-friendly entertainment, here Funk is hitting Hansen with a chair.
That's not DQ worthy.
Hansen kicks Funk into the river.
Still not DQ worthy.
Then we have Funk apparently throwing what appears to be river mud, maybe a river clam. I don't know what, but he throws something from the river in the face of Hansen.
And it's still not a DQ.
What exactly does one need to do to get disqualified in this match?
That's a good question, but I think a better question would be, where the heck are they wrestling? So the show is taking place in Pennsauken Township, New Jersey. I'm pretty sure I said that right. I am from New Jersey, but usually we say things weirdly. So I believe this show is happening right where you're kind of going down right there. You see where the all those highways meet? Kind of in that area is what I'm thinking, on the riverbanks there. Yeah, there's Cooper River Park, but then there's also, if you go to the left, you see how there's like a little lake.
Hold on. Did you say Lake, Tim?
Yes, I did.
So this isn't a Rumble by a river at all.
Nope. So this is Cooper River Lake, which is coming off of the Cooper River, which comes off of the Delaware River. So that's essentially what that is. So it's technically, yes, Rumble on the lake. There is no way this match could have happened on the Delaware River. These guys would have gone all the way into the ocean, because that is some very deep waters up there and very heavily trafficked by large shipping boats. So they definitely had to have battled in the Cooper River Lake area down there. There are a few parks. There's actually a big driving ranges right there. And then if you go on the other side of the highway there along North Park Drive, there are a few parks, and that's where I'm assuming it's happening.
Now I don't even know what to think about this event. Not only is it not Rumble on the river because it's not on a river, but it's not by a river. It's by a river lake. And I'm not even sure what that is because I'm not up on my geology body of water terms. This is all very confusing and wildly disappointing. I feel like I've been sold a fake bill of goods here.
Yeah, sorry, New Jersey ruins everything.
So here we are. We're coming up to the big conclusion of this sort of epic battle between Terry Funk and Stan Hansen. And I want to know, how do you think this clash of legendary brawlers is going to end?
Well, I know for one thing, it's not going to end in a DQ.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stan Hansen has been disqualified for throwing Terry Funk into the river.
Wait, you can't be serious. After all of the violence, all of the stuff, the fact that Funk was already kicked into the river and that is your finish, like two friends roughhousing by the river getting slammed in. Like, I don't understand how this is a DQ out of everything that's played out already.
The crazy thing is, like, he didn't know how deep that water was. He didn't know if there was a giant rock right there. He could have just thrown Terry Funk onto a giant rock, onto a turtle, onto anything. You don't know. I mean, I know Terry Funk's been blown up and thrown on barbed wire, but you never know. You could have killed him right there in this lake river in the middle of New Jersey.
That actually is probably par for the course with what Stan Hansen was doing. I mean, he's just on this spree of attempted murders during wrestling matches. He almost kills Vader. He's potentially drowning Funk. I mean, it's pretty on brand for Stan Hansen in 1990. We get the disqualification. The match is over, but it's not really over, although I'm not entirely sure what happens over the course of this next minute or so.
I don't really think anybody who was there knew what was going on. If you watch it now, you still will not be able to tell me what's going on, but that's because of the cameraman again.
Doesn't really seem to know what the action is happening. He's just kind of like wandering around, shooting fans, shooting the ground. You would have no idea that there was even a wrestling match taking place. It's literally just like some home movies from a park at this point. There's a second camera here, right? Like, we've seen the second camera.
And it's not just a second camera like of a guy in the, outside of the ring. It's a wide shot. It's going to give us the whole backdrop of what's going on here.
No, we don't see that, but hey, here's a random guy without a shirt on. Eventually, we do get some clarity on where Funk and Hansen have gone, but where would you think that is? They're in this public park, an extremely dangerous place. They could be drowning each other in a river. They could be fashioning spears out of branches. They could be doing any number of just brutal things to one another. So where did they eventually end up?
They went back to the ring.
What? What? The ring is like the safest place they could possibly be. You can't be serious.
Because it's a magnet. It draws wrestlers to the ring no matter where they are.
But the match is over. Like, it already ended disqualification. Like, you have no business being in the ring.
It doesn't matter anymore. Let's just keep going because we got it. We're making our money.
This is just really absurd at this point.
And it gets even more absurd because they go from the river to the ring, and then they go back outside of the ring to their trailers. Yeah, the trailers where I think they were getting ready. I'm not really sure at this point. We just see Funk randomly going into a trailer, and then Hansen goes and attacks him there, and that's where even more chaos happens.
So as Hansen and Funk are brawling back to their trailers, the PA announcer of this event comes out and he just wants to give everyone a message.
I grab the car and hope this lady's still in. The own continues.
Just go home. Get out of here. We got to go. Everyone go. Let's go, because I got to make my other shot at Wildwood in an hour. So let's go. Come on.
Yeah, no, not warning fans, not telling them to stay safe or at least stay out of the way of the wrestlers. Like, he's ready to get out of there.
I'm sure he's got his car running in that parking lot that's right next to wherever the trailers were.
So at this point, it feels like we have some calm. The match is over. Funk is in his trailer, and yet it's not the end. Well, I can't say match, but it's not the end of whatever is happening right now. But how did they lock horns again?
Well, it was easy. Stan Hansen just stood outside of his trailer with his bull rope, and he kept throwing it against his trailer until Terry Funk answered the door.
You know, I'm always answering my door when someone lashes a bull rope at it constantly. Like, maybe he was hoping to get some Girl Scout cookies or a Jehovah's Witness.
So after they lock horns again, they're going at it, and people are starting to lose interest. And then someone throws a chair at the other one, I think, or a table. There's like 4 cops kind of lollygagging around. Everyone's just kind of walking around while these two guys are still going at it for like the rest of the show.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the fans have seen enough. It's time to find other park activities. Maybe there's some frisbee golf or something to do. Then we get perhaps the most surreal moment of this entire match. Hold on. This kid and the cameraman are 2 feet away from Hansen and Funk brawling, and the kid is like, "Let me hold your camera." There's no way this guy's going to let the kid hold the camera, is there? We see a level shift. It's impossible to tell if the kid gets the camera. Do you think this cameraman handed the kid the camera to film the rest of this?
I mean, I don't think so. He did say, you can kind of hear him say, like, wait right here or stay right here. So maybe he's going to give him the camera after the show's over. So maybe when the show eventually ended, he gave him the camera, just, kind of hold it. I don't know.
But there is that weird level shift. Like, the camera definitely goes down. This is maybe the biggest mystery of the match.
Maybe. I mean, there was a lot of child endangerment going on at this show, so I wouldn't be surprised.
And we don't call it mystery match theater for nothing. This match lasts about 12 or 13 minutes. Funk and Hansen have brawled, well, in some of the confines of the park. They were in the ring. They were outside the ring. They made their way to the river. There was a body slam in the river, some mud being thrown, chairs, bull ropes, a lot of violence. So how would this violent contest end?
Simply Stan Hansen just going back into his trailer.
That is actually correct. Stan Hansen closes the door to his trailer and Funk celebrates. Then after that moment of triumph from Funk, the video just sort of ends.
That's because their VHS tape probably only had 60 minutes of video on it.
That would do it for sure. So yeah, that is WWA's Rumble by the River, the main event featuring Terry Funk and Stan Hansen. That ends in a DQ because, well, all of Funk and Hansen's matches ended in DQ.
Well, both competitors would cross paths a few more times after this, but never again in a singles match. Hansen went back to Japan in July of 1990 and went on to lose and then regain the Triple Crown title. He would face off against Funk in some tags later in 1990, but never to this level, I guess.
They would then team up in Eastern Championship Wrestling, of course, eventually known as Extreme Championship Wrestling, where they faced against Abdullah the Butcher and Kevin Sullivan, a match that ended in disqualification because, well, of course it did. As for WWA, Funk would actually be back a year later for their signature summer event, this one dubbed WWA Rumble 2 Wrestlers versus Hunger. Rumor has it Wrestlers and Hunger brawled for about 12 or so minutes before Hunger just gently retreated back to his trailer and the show sort of ended. Actually, if we're being honest here, Terry Funk would fight Bob Backlund, but that is a mystery match for another day.
So there was our first installment of Mystery Match Theater. We will be doing more of these in the future because there are tons and tons of Mystery Match Theaters that we have on our minds. Anyway, thank you so much again. Make sure you like and share this video with more wrestling fans out there, more people who have seen this show, maybe someone who went to this show. There's got to be someone out there who went to this show. Please tell me in the comments below. Also, make sure you follow us on my page, Wrong Sports. You follow Cheyenne over at the Touchback. We also have the links in the description below. And just remember,
if you're the special guest referee and the match happens to be taking place somewhat near a river, it's only a disqualification if one opponent slams the other into the river.